Welcome to Under the Onion Skin, the podcast to get closer to independent animation directors and get to know some behind the scenes of their short films. My name is Giulia, and each time I talk to a different director about a short film they made. With this podcast, I hope to be able to capture a glimpse of what I love mostly about festivals, to have something to listen to when we're back to our regular lives, but above all to celebrate beautiful films, talented artists and storytellers. Welcome to Under the Onion Skin. In this episode, I had the chance to talk to Hungarian animation director Flora Anna Buda during the Fantoche Festival, which takes place in Baden, Switzerland every September. We met in front of the cinema, so you might hear at some point the popcorn machine going wild. And we had a nice conversation about her short film 27, which was, by the way, shortlisted for the Oscars this year. In this episode, among other things, we talk about lucky chance, or maybe serendipity in animation, and unexpected success. Is it the first time you come to Switzerland? Yeah.
No, to Fantoche it's the first time, but Switzerland, I've been here quite a few times because a very good friend who's Swiss German, and we met in Erasmus, so ever since then we are best friends and try to see each other. I haven't seen her for a while, but there was a time that we were quite good at visiting.
Yeah, there is a nice train connection from here to Budapest. I take it all the time, like
really?
a night train.
From Zurich?
Yeah.
Yes, I know that. Yeah. It's really great. I love the night trains most.
Yeah, I actually loved coming to Budapest.
Yeah, I also love to go to Italy every time. The friends there.
I was there also last year for Prima Anima.
Cool.
Buda.
Yes,
yeah.
It's coming. Oh, it's a perfect pronunciation. It's going to happen soon, actually.
Yeah, it's October.
Yeah, October, middle of October. I don't know. It's been a while that I started this film, so I'm trying to remember the beginning, the source. But if I want to kind of sum it up, I feel like I always wanted to create a story, and then during creation the story became actually a very personal story, and I realized that I have a lot to say about this topic, and it just turned into like almost a documentary eventually, but instead of doing a proper documentary, I just found like life events and experiences, and I mixed them up in a way that it's fiction, but with the real
inspired.
It's inspired by real events, and the emotional background is there.
Yeah,
so
you can feel that. I think.
You think you?
Yeah, I mean, it must come from a real experience because it's so vivid, right? So and also
for me, yes.
Yeah, and also I think even if we try, you can never be completely detached, right, from what you do.
Yeah, I feel like there's
okay.
you have the popcorn machine. Yeah. Well, yes, no, I believe it's true. I mean, even if it's not about your experience, it's definitely going to reflect your current thoughts or what you're thinking about. Yeah, I really appreciate films that are trying to take a distance also from personal background. It can be very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It will be in a way connected to yourself. Or what?
When you worked on it, where were you living? In which city?
I lived all over. I started in Budapest, and then maybe 2 weeks I was in Budapest when I was working on this, and I drew like 3 concept arts, and then I immediately went to Viborg to 1 year because COVID started, so I spent an entire year there, and that's when I wrote the script and I made the storyboards and almost the animatic as well, and character design and design in general. And then I moved to Paris in 2021 because we got French fundings for the film and we didn't get Hungarian funds, so I decided to move to France and do the film there. And so I was there, and there was this residency in Vendôme called Cyclique, where I also went for 6 months, and that's when we did the production parts, and it was all in all very great, and we finished 2023 January. So
okay, start from Viborg, and Viborg was like a residency.
Yes, yes.
And there you were on your own working on that, I guess.
Yes, but somehow we were there for each other always. Like
Yeah.
it was very communal experience. We would have presentations and we
Yeah, I
could
wanted
comment
to
on
say,
each other's stuff.
It's good there because you have some kind of social commitment, and every now and then you have a
Yeah,
check.
exactly. And it was not like it was a check, but it was not a check with expectations. It was more like this is where I am at, and I don't know. It was very inspiring for me.
And I also was there in Viborg, and I feel like it's very random who you find. You don't know who is going to be in residency with you at the same
true.
time, and it influences somehow
Yeah.
a lot. Everything
yeah.
else, your everyday life. I noticed like people come and go, so maybe one period is in one way and the other is very
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
different. Yes.
It was very special because of COVID, so we almost like there were 10 people who spent almost an entire year together, and we only had a dormitory because after lockdown started, the school was closed, so we were in the dormitory, 10 people, and it was really special, really. I was there during there was very strict confinement. There were no COVID cases. Now COVID came to Viborg. Like, the borders were closed. We couldn't go out. No one could get in.
It's already Viborg in per se as a residency, as a place. It's already a special experience. I cannot even imagine with this situation. Yeah, cool.
It was very interesting.
But later you had then the chance to build a team. Maybe
Yes.
in France.
No, in Hungary I built the team was mostly Hungarian. There were some colleagues who were from France.
Yeah.
But the animation team and the coloring team was Hungarian.
And you brought them to France.
No, I mean partly the animation was done remotely, and I also did some shots. And then the coloring team, part of the coloring team came to Cyclic, to the residency, and that's when we met. But normally most of the production was remote.
Okay.
Yes.
And how was that for you?
It was good because I worked with a really nice production manager, and thank God, because I did all the backgrounds, so I had to check the colored scenes and the animation and everything while I was doing the backgrounds. And for that it was actually better that I was separated, because my attention didn't go to so many places. It was very complicated and intense. Like, I don't know, it was super intense period, but I was very happy, and the team was really amazing. Yeah.
And the background you mentioned, they're all hand drawn or hand painted or not?
No, it's Photoshop.
Okay, it looks really hand painted.
Yes, because I used an old brush. It's and I'm using it in a way that it really looks like paint. I'm mixing always two colors. So one brush can always have two colors, and then it's based on the pressure which color is more strong.
It's a lot of
kind
work.
It's a lot of work because it's really like the technique is basically the same as if I would hand paint, but the advantage that I can make layers. And control, like say, and
fix problems.
Yes, but basically I'm using it as if I would use a crayon.
Yeah. And you usually also hand paint. I'm curious because it's
Yes, I do a lot of drawings and paintings, but separately. It's more always the like byproducts of the filmmaking that I'm drawing a lot just for myself, because it's much quicker than making a film. So you need this kind of feeling of, I don't know, satisfaction of finishing something in a shorter period of time.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, it's good sometimes to give yourself some small projects.
Yes.
Especially if you're working on a film.
Just like meditation, put your focus away from the big stress.
I think it's also to give you this dopamine kick of
I
finished something.
Exactly. It's possible.
Yeah,
I agree.
And when I think about your film, I think, so first, for me it's like a dance. It's very much, for me at least, very rhythmic, very related to music or to
Yes, that's true.
It reminds me also, that's also why I asked you, where were you? Because it reminds me a little bit of the Budapest scene.
Yes, definitely.
And all the party scene. Yes, but also, I don't know, it's not just that. I think you managed to create a sort of flow, a flow of rhythm that goes through that. I don't know.
Thank you.
how did you? I mean, already in the storyboard phase, you had this rhythm or this flow, or did you work maybe together, sound and music, while developing?
Well, no, it was different. It was very magical actually because I worked with this sister duo called Committee. They're Hungarians and they're amazing. They really love their stuff, and they just released an album when I was working on the animatic, and I just tried on one of their songs on the dance scene, and it almost perfectly fit. And I felt like, okay, this is a good sign. And then I wrote them like, hey, look, I really would like to work with you. And then they said, of course. So I used like two already existing songs at the party scene and at the end. But then they sent me an impro from 2015 or something, like from a long time ago. And I just tried it on at the beginning of the film. And it was perfect. It is already an edited animatic. And it's perfectly, like almost like they had to edit like a few frames here and there, but it was perfectly that. It was as if it would have been made for this film 8 years ago, which was freaky. Like it was freakish. It was really, it was so beautiful.
That's a great day, sent.
Yeah, it was great, and they also had this. Like, I think we have this very intuitive connection, or maybe just like shared experiences. I have no idea, but I felt like their music is resonating exactly with the image I'm creating. And also on a personal level, we have this understanding.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was just an intuition for them too to send me this impro, and I tried, and it was just like, yeah, of course, this is the music. It's crazy.
That's great.
It was so
it's
funny.
Like the ideal way of collaboration.
It was beyond ideal. It was just, I don't know how. Like it was really, to me, it's hard to explain. But I kind of believe in this kind of attraction, like to attract people kind of same energy.
In the end, you still had to maybe sound design, but the music was locked very early.
Yes, the music was locked very early in sound design. I started, like for the animatic, I made a sound design which was obviously not perfect, but my intention was there, and I also wrote like document, and then I gave this animatic and the document to sound designer who made, I think, a very good job. Like he's a very experienced professional, and I trust him. So, and then we had the final mix when I was sitting there with him, and we checked certain sounds if they were a bit like different or whatever. But we didn't have to change a lot at the end. It was really nice. Yeah, I'm very happy.
And I always wonder about like feedback, because now you've been traveling quite a lot with the film. Did you get the feedback you hoped, or what was the reaction?
I got even better than I hoped. I can't remember what kind of feedback I was aiming for. I think I didn't have an idea how it will be. I was very anxious because I felt like I'm taking a risk with this film. It's very vulnerable, it's very personal, and it tells a lot about my background, and I was very anxious a little bit when I was making how my family would perceive it, or friends, or whatever. It's a bit out there, and I just like got reactions that I never dreamed about, and this is the best part of this whole production, that at the end I talked to people, like actual human beings who would come and tell me how they can relate to the topic. And it was such a big relief. Like, I don't know, I mean, of course when you're making a film and it takes 3 years, then there's always this chance that it won't succeed, or you won't be understood, or whatever, like all this work won't pay off eventually. And it was really the opposite.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I never felt this way before.
That's good, but you know, maybe just because it was so personal and so bold,
yes,
that's why it resonates so much.
I think so. I mean, and then it was just like another positive feedback from life, and that it was going vulnerable, and it takes courage, and it's complicated to be so honest about things, but eventually it pays off. It, like a quotation mark on the pays, because it's not necessarily about the money part, but in the level of understanding. And it's just amazing feeling when someone is understanding. I didn't know how much it's important before. I felt like, okay, whatever, because before I had like a lot of times when I felt I'm not understood, most of my childhood was like this, and now it's just like a very new feeling, and it feels great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree. It comes from being on display or like vulnerable, I think,
Yes.
because then we realize we're all human.
Yeah.
We
exactly.
all have, this. We
Yes.
have problems. We have
Yeah.
flaws, and that's how we connect, I think. Because
Yes.
I
think
had
so.
these thoughts in my past to, for example, writing emails or having interviews. Sometimes something wrong happens, like you send something wrong in the email or in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
interview, and then I realized maybe it's good,
Yeah.
to show that you're human and then say
Yes.
sorry, and you create a stronger connection
Yeah.
being human, maybe with mistakes rather than perfect. And
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
is clean and
Yeah, I agree.
I-
I like it. Mistakes are so important. This is the only way you can learn something, if you make mistakes.
also that.
I think it's super important to make mistakes, to be able to, and of course you don't have to be vulnerable in front of everyone, but that's your boundary to decide where it is, and
I feel like it should be like a conversation, so
yeah,
we open together. If you open, I open, and
exactly.
it's a balance.
Yes.
Of course, I don't give if nobody gives back. This
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of,
yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
It's
But
kind
I
of a
agree.
trust. Yeah.
I agree that it's good to be vulnerable, but also to set your boundaries.
Yeah, I really agree.
Yeah.
So it's really a good experience for me, and it was very hard to make. Like many times I was suffering with crisis moments
During the process.
Of course, every part of the process had like at least one crisis. When a new chapter started, it was always a crisis, and then it's always transitioning to a different sort of task, and then it's change, and change is something that the brain doesn't like at the beginning, and if the ego starts telling you it's scary and you shouldn't continue, and then these are the challenging parts, and I know it was hard. I remember, so it was not all pink and shiny and glittery.
I think
It
it's
was
always part of.
very much, yes. I spent a lot of times in bed. Sometimes, like weekends, just binge watching series to be able to clean my head out, and then prepare it for the next phase. And it was challenging.
Was it
yeah.
because maybe it was some creative challenge, or maybe team or
More
logistics?
creative. I think it was creative challenge because there were a lot of things I never done before. For example, writing a dialogue that was very complicated, but I really enjoyed it eventually.
It was the first time you wrote that.
Yes.
I never write dialogue so far, and now in the next film I want to, and I find it very hard. And when I watched your film, I thought it's like a live action kind of dialogue. It seems very mature.
Oh, thank you. No, I'm so happy that you say that.
Yeah, I'm
It's,
paying attention to all dialogues. And
Yeah, me too. I
find
learned
it
from-
very good.
I learned from films, honestly.
Yeah.
I was watching films where I liked the dialogue,
Yeah.
and I try to see what kind of tools they use. How can you make it more natural?
Oh, yeah.
Also listen to dialogue just on the street and everywhere I could.
And then I guess also finding good actors also
Yes,
was
no,
very
I was
important.
super lucky with the actors. They're amazing. And they actually the actors I wanted to work with. So it was so lucky. It was during COVID when we recorded the sound, the voices, and just like imagine that these actors are professionals and they have a life, and they could manage to make the whole recording in one day, and they could all come in one day to record. It was crazy. It was such a magical moment. I really loved it. Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's good to work with a team because there are moments when you really don't feel strong enough to push it for yourself. But if you need to give a job to the team because they are expecting you and it's their time, and you need to respect their time and their salaries and whatever. So that was a great deal of motivation sometimes, and I'm really grateful for that because that really made me wake up in the morning and do it, and that's magical. Like sometimes it's really hard to do it for yourself sometimes, and for the sake of the film. Yeah.
How long was the production?
The production was a year and a half, and then the pre-production and the development was also a year and a half altogether. So it was 3 years from the first idea to the last export. Yeah. That's okay.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you like onions?
I love onions. I mean, if they're fried or something.
What do you like about onions?
I don't know. I like them when they're fried or baked or cooked or something. Raw, not that much. Sometimes in the salad. I like that they're healthy and they make you cry if you cut them.
Right.
And
Do you like the fact that they make you cry?
I'm wearing contact lenses and I'm not crying because of that. So, but it's kind of nice that
It's fun, you know?
that it's that onion can make you cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes the food delicious. And
Yeah.
yeah,
They're
you can make
such-
so many things about it. You can create so many different textures of the food.
So even if they make you cry, they do good stuff.
Yeah, it's just like animation.
That's a good way to end. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoy this chat I had with Flora. You can find Flora and her work online. I put all the links in the show notes as usual for you to connect with her. I hope you will watch 27 soon if you haven't already. I'm going to post on my Instagram stories and newsletter Creative Crave, as I usually do, some behind the scenes and links about the featured short film. Usually there you can see the trailer, some work in progress, and eventually also the link to the film once it will be released online. This was Under the Onion Skin. Thank you for listening, and until next time with another director and a short animated film. Ciao!